Haunted Hollywood. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
We are solidly in October, which means we're going to be taking some of the content of our episodes into a more eerie, spooky, haunted place, taking it up a couple notches as we do, with haunted houses, witches, Satanism, and all kinds of dark arts, especially for our multi-part Halloween episodes, so get ready. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the month. Today, well, when you're listening to this, it is my birthday, no less. So in celebration for myself, we'll be staying in Los Angeles, talking about one of the most notorious homes in Hollywood, and arguably all of Los Angeles, that you've likely never heard of. A storybook castle with a tale of mysterious deaths, prohibition hijinks, Hollywood glamour, ghosts, and curses. Under the watchful eye of the Hollywood sign, welcome to Los Angeles' Wolf's Lair. In the 1920s, real estate developers were building up the Hollywood area, excited for the influx of farmers, tourists, and of course, the burgeoning film industry. It was called Hollywoodland and was primarily developed on the former Rancho Providencia and purchased by real estate developers Sherman and Clark, who also owned a large section of the San Fernando Valley and Los Angeles Aqueduct project. From the aqueducts, water filled the Hollywood Reservoir and provided a large supply of Hollywoodland's water. The March 31st, 1923 edition of the Hollywood Citizen called the area, quote, the choicest of all the acreage owned by Mr. Clark and General Sherman, who were lauded because, quote, it was confidence such as theirs that gave Southern California railroads, and vision that foresaw the future beauty of what it is today named Hollywoodland. Hollywoodland, very catchy. It was in the spirit of this development and possibility that the Wolf's Lair was conceived of and built. In 1924, L. Milton Wolfe, one of the real estate developers who was also building up Hollywoodland along with our friends Sherman and Clark, designed a auspicious castle for himself, a wildly grandiose family home on a peak overlooking the newly made Hollywood sign, the newly made Hollywood Reservoir, the new-ish Griffith Park Observatory, downtown Los Angeles, and on a clear day, Catalina Island, a mere 40 miles away. The Norman 5-bedroom French chateau-style residence is characterized by coffered ceilings, winding staircases, Juliet balconies, stained glass and gable windows, stone ramparts, a grotto with a waterfall, a nature preserve, a basement tiki bar, and miniature turrets, one of which is where Wolfe kept his pet gibbon, Missy, who, by the way, had pink manicured nails when she was found wandering Los Feliz Boulevard in 1957. A floor-to-ceiling window on the dining room's west end looks out onto a gorgeous garden. To the north, there's a pool and cabana with a connecting natural footpath to enjoy the Hollywood Hills wildlife. Think deer, coyotes, cougars, snakes, and pretty much whatever they warn you about during a hike at Griffith Park. To maintain the 3.3-acre estate at 2869 Durand Drive, Wolfe hired someone close by, the Hollywood Signs caretaker, to be his full-time handyman at the Wolf's Lair. Not a bad gig, I'd say, as long as you are not afraid of heights. And there, Wolfe, his caretaker, his family lived happily ever after in the Wolf's Lair, making renovations along the way. Though he designed the whole place himself, in 1954, Wolfe commissioned iconic Frank Lloyd Wright protege and LA architectural powerhouse John Lautner, the architect for many historic homes in the Googie and Atomic Age mid-century styles, to design a 2-room addition, the new living room and kitchen, for the Gatehouse, which is kind of like a fancy guest house. The architecture complements the French castle, however, the inside is so chic. It is mid-century excellence, with wood-beamed ceilings, green rough marble flooring, and a gorgeous, gigantic stone fireplace. The structure, whose bottom area served as Wolfe's office, as well as an underground tiki bar outfitted with a bamboo piano and couch, that's the couch, not the piano, turned into a bed with the touch of one button. Supposedly, this is where the very much married Wolfe entertained mistresses while his wife slept in the castle, which connected to the new addition via a pathway, and, of course, a designed secret tunnel. According to archivist Frank Lundeen, quote, "Now Mr. Wolf was a chaser of aspiring starlets, hence the secret apartment under the gatehouse. It still has the original South Seas decor of the 1920s, including a bamboo piano and a couch that turns into a bed at the touch of a button. Wolf would woo the lovelies while his unsuspecting wife slept in the castle a few 100 feet away. He would tell the cuties that he had connections in the big house and could possibly help their careers. What a guy." For nearly 50 years, Wolf and his family lived in their Hollywood Hills home until 1972, when the 78-year-old Wolf dropped dead at his own dining room table, quote, "pitched forward into his minestrone," as the tabloids recounted. And it's there, after Wolf's death, that the Lair becomes less weird early Hollywood and more notorious haunted Hollywood. We'll tell you about it after this break. In the early 1970s, L. Milton Wolfe died face down in his own soup, and his family unfortunately had to pick up the pieces. Unable to pay taxes on the massive Hollywood Hills home, Jacqueline Wolfe, Milton's daughter, sold the Wolfe's Lair. It seems as though the ghost of L. Milton Wolfe didn't really like that, at least according to the first of its subsequent owners, who spoke about the house being extremely haunted. The first owner removed the upstairs doors because they opened on their own at night. That's just the beginning. During a 1980 dinner party, the fireplace spontaneously burst into flames and a picture fell off the wall. The Wolfe's Lair at this time also made its creepy movie debut, serving as the mansion of evil scientist Dr. Gannon in 1978's Return from Witch Mountain, starring Bette Davis, Christopher Lee, and Kim Richards. It was also said that Debbie Reynolds, Marlon Brando, and the Beatles were all occupants of the Lair at various points in this time period, but that is unverified. What is verified is that between 1974 and 1976, Shelley Duvall lived there with her boyfriend, tobacco heir Patrick Reynolds, at the Wolfe's Lair with a menagerie of animals, including a black Scottish Terrier, 2 Harlequin Great Danes, 4 ducks, and a cat named Binky Brown. According to Reynolds, their relationship ended shortly before Duvall moved to London to film The Shining in 1976. In 1981, the house was sold again to real estate broker and LA preservationist Bob Crane. As well, Bob Crane had a love for Los Angeles and, perversely, for haunted and macabre things, as evidenced by receiving the table where Wolfe died as a housewarming gift. Crane loved LA. In the mid-1980s, he organized a campaign that resulted in Lake Hollywood, which included William Mulholland's Mission-style dam, being designated as a cultural heritage site. He loved the macabre, as you know, evidenced by his prized table. He also embraced the house's hauntedness, allowing it to serve as a spooky location for lots of movies and TV shows at the time. After Crane, 77 Sunset Strip star Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. bought the home. At this point, the aging TV star was past his prime, doing small parts on TV shows. But for Zimbalist, the Wolfe's Lair would be a place that the Jewish-born, Episcopalian-raised actor would dive into the cultish religions of the 70s and 80s, including, but not limited to, transcendental meditation, as taught by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, which he would later call a total waste of time, and the charismatic Christianity movements, starting with Reverend Jim Baker and, of course, Tammy Faye Baker's PTL ministry. For several years, he was a member of the PTL board and was almost the face of PTL itself. In 1989, he reflected on this time in his life, saying, quote, "For a while, I did go overboard in my association with a fundamentalist group." After Zimbalist moved to Santa Barbara, Lionsgate Entertainment executive Jay Fares bought the house. But after Fares and his wife, Greek-American TV personality Debbie Matenopoulos, called it quits in 2010, they sold the house to Moby. Yes, all roads lead to Moby, it seems, as the electronic musician gladly purchased the Wolfe's Lair for $3.9 million, half of the original asking price, from Lionsgate Entertainment executive Jay Fares, and spearheaded a $2 million restoration of both the guest house and the main residence. Moby frequently blogged about the renovation process of this home and, like everyone else, loved the Lautner addition, which he turned into his office, just had Wolfe done just as Wolf did decades earlier. Here's an excerpt from Moby's blog. Quote, I don't know how the owner of the house was able to talk John Lautner into building a guest house on the property. Maybe they were friends. Maybe John Lautner was bored and needed some work. I have no idea. But I do know that I'm a lucky architecture nerd to be able to commute 25 yards to my odd little John Lautner guest house every morning. Oh, I hope it doesn't sound like I'm bragging. I mean, I guess I am, sort of. But I'm more just sharing my excitement at being able to go to work in a John Lautner house every morning. Moby, it does sound like you're bragging. One of my favorite things about the house is Lautner's use of greenstone. I don't even know what greenstone is, but he used a lot of it in building the house, both inside and out. I also love that most of the house is clad in glass, although this is confusing to some people and dogs, as I've had a few instances where both people and dogs have stumbled into the glass. Luckily, neither person nor dog nor glass has been injured. Again, Moby trying to be charming, a problematic musical figure, of course, but he did own the Wolf's Lair for 4 years. At the time, Moby told the New York Times that he hoped to turn the Tiki Speakeasy into an invitation-only magic theater, though that did not happen. Again, after 4 years, Moby finally sold off the 8-bedroom, 6-bathroom compound for $12.4 million in 2014 to a mystery buyer. Moby, of course, explained the sale on his website. Quote, it was an amazing place, a bucolic and storied 4-acre hilltop retreat in the middle of a city of 15 million people. So why did I sell? Simplicity. I loved Wolf's Lair, but it was just too elaborate for one simple little guy, aka me. If I'd started a cult or a family, and trust me, I've tried to start both, it would have been the perfect home. Basically, I wanted something simpler than a mountaintop castle. But rumors flew about why Moby actually sold, if this was actually the reason, him being just one man in a castle or what, and perhaps what he was trying to get away from by leaving. Some Redditors speculated the renovation disturbed Wolf or other former tenants, as renovations, many spiritualists attest to, are wont to do. And then, in 2024, the Wolf's Lair was listed again, hoping for a buyer down to part with $15 million. While it has not yet sold, this is October 2025, hikers looking for a little creepy mystery and Hollywood history can hike up to the house and peer inside the stately windows and turrets. What they'll find inside? Well, that's anyone's guess.